Good evening. Welcome to Westford Academy's Back to School event. This presentation is for the class of 2023, the juniors. So welcome. My name is Dan Toomey, Dean of Students here at Westford Academy. I've been here since 2010 and in my fifth year as Dean of Students. Previously, I served here as the Director of Athletics. So I'm excited to be with you this evening and presenting in this format. I would have loved to have been in person, but it is what it is. So thank you for watching and following along. And hopefully there's a few takeaways for you here in my presentation that will continue to shed some light on your students' experience here at Westford Academy, their junior year. So welcome and excited to be back in a relatively normal school year. And we'll, if at any time anything's going on, please reach out to me if you have any issues with your student at home as far as Westford Academy. I can very easily be reached just by calling the school and asking to speak with me or sending me an email, dtoomey@westfordk12.us. And we'll try to figure out what's going on. So welcome. Here's the current administration. One new piece, Mrs. Lauren Clark there, the second from the right next to Mr. Antonelli. In the middle is Mr. Ware, myself, and then Dean Betsy Murphy. The three deans there, Dean Murphy, Dean Ware, and Dean Toomey. Mr. Antonelli. Mr. Bunyan is also part of the administration team here, the athletic director, and also the school resource officer, special ed liaison director here, Mr. Duquette, and the many department heads really form the core administrative group at Westford Academy. Really, again, we want to share as much information as we can. As we get a little bit closer to graduation, we're already more than halfway done with the high school experience here at Westford Academy. And obviously, later on this evening or at any point, maybe you already have to meet with the teachers virtually in their classrooms and kind of meet who the teachers are, see them, hear them talk a little bit about the class and, some of the nuts and bolts that they would like to offer toward your students' educational experience here. COVID safety, we are still in the pandemic. The good news is that a very high percentage of our students and an incredibly high amount of staff and faculty and staff here are fully vaccinated, so that's a good thing. For the current time, masks are still mandatory for all students and staff in the building when you're out and about in the building. And certainly we could use your help as to reinforce the message for the students, when they're out and about in the classrooms and in the hallways, and the masks need to be on. They need to be on properly, covering those noses up. If your student doesn't wear the mask properly when you need to wear it out and about, it's probably the same thing in school. So please, just any support you could provide us with there, just to continue to keep everybody safe. We still have COVID cases here at Westford Academy, just like everybody does. But we're doing some things, to try to minimize that the best we can. We're really in the cafeteria when they're inside. It's 4 at a table. The outside lunch areas, really it's open. They can have their masks off. They have a little bit more time to relax. We've been using the courtyard for lunches. The kids have really been enjoying that. There are some other places around the building where, students can find a spot they're comfortable with to have lunch. Again, COVID symptoms, if your kid is not feeling well and they're sick, I think people kind of know what to do by this point. Don't send them to school. Try to get a test. If you have any questions about any of that, call the nurses here. Also, with attendance, COVID absences, or if you're waiting for test results, we'll excuse those. We have cleaning wipes throughout the building, all over the place. If anytime a student's sitting anywhere, whether it's a classroom, a table, anything, there are cleaning wipes everywhere. Classroom teachers are still trying to maximize the desk spacing when possible. It's a little hard when we're trying to do labs and group work and all those things, that we're trying to get back to in masks, but we do our absolute, best to try to maximize when we can the spacing to minimize any close contacts. School safety, just a general school safety. We are still in the era of school safety is a big piece. The doors around the building are locked all day long. The only access point after 7:40 is through the front doors. So please, if anytime your students coming in later in the day, they got to go through the front door and they got to get buzzed in. We did send out plenty of information at the beginning of the year on the crisis response if the event something was ever to happen. Very, very, very beginning of the school year, we sent someone home. If you need any of that, more of that information, you can reach out to me or Mr. Ware, who's one of our safety chairs here at the school. That he really runs the crisis response. We were planning on having a safety drill on this Friday at the end of the day, but we're going to postpone that. Just some moving parts that we're still working through as far as how we want to do that drill effectively, safely in a COVID environment. So just stay tuned on that. Okay, many of you are excellent at this, and we appreciate all your help and support getting everybody to school. Continue. If you're dropping up and picking up, please get behind the building there, along the roadway. Those are the places to drop off. Stay out of the senior parking lot. There's a fender bender there all the time. And it's, as you can imagine, putting 200 and something relatively new drivers in a parking lot together and exiting and leaving. It's not a great place to be picking up and dropping off. Just for your own safety and your own car's safety. So please, just out back is the best way to go. Stay out of the front of the building in the morning and the afternoon. It's just buses coming the opposite way, faculty trying to sneak into the spots. It's a little bit of zoo out front. So just stay around the back the best you can. We're doing the double lanes coming in. That seems to have helped. Just really general things. Be kind, be patient. Use your signals. When I'm out there doing traffic, you'd be surprised how many people don't use signals and I don't know where they want to go. So please just help out the best you can. And again, a big thing which people have been doing is if you're in no rush to get out of here after school, come at 2:15. You breeze right in. You can pull right up to the front, whatever. Then easy, grab your kid, you're out of here. It's no big deal. The traffic is totally gone. When we get to half days and we get to midterm assessments where we're doing our midterm assessment schedule and students are done with their assessments at 12 o'clock, the parking, the dropping off and everything is crazy. So please just keep those in mind. Come a little bit later. You don't need to be there right at that time. This year's schedule, it's really a pilot schedule for the year. We did run a 5 drop 2 schedule at the end of last year. This is another iteration of that schedule. There's a lot of benefits to having one less class per day. Students have to prepare less. There's less homework. Teachers also, you prepare less, but you have more quality instructional time during those blocks. So we're still in the adjustment phase. The pacing is different for the teachers, how much they need to do because they meet less times, but they have a longer time every time they meet. So it's still a work in progress. We're receiving a lot of positive feedback on it. Some of the negative feedback is people really like the longer passing times of students and the staff in between classes, but we really are back to a 5-minute passing time with time on learning. We need to have that at that 5-minute passing time to meet that because all those minutes add up over 180 days in the school year. So, just that longer block's a longer one. We might have another tweak to this schedule here, at the end of quarter 1 or quarter 2, but really it's still going to be a 5 drop 2, those 2 that were dropped to meet the first 2 blocks of the day on the next day. So, if a student is dismissed one day, and then they come in late 2 hours the next day, they're going to, they'll miss some classes. So you just want to, keep that in mind. Some junior year highlights. The academics really pick up junior year. It's just what it always is. I mean, especially coming off of some COVID time where we had to do a lot of things differently. The academics definitely pick up junior year. So there's a balance of the academics and co-curriculars. And I mean, there are some really great classes. There's some really challenging classes, on the academic side for the juniors. And just, I know the slide says highlights, but just something to keep in mind with, some of the co-curriculars and academics is look at the big picture, what's really important. It's never too late to join another co-curricular if you're not doing something, you like to be involved, or if you feel like you're doing too much. I think you got to take a look at, the classes your students are taking and some of the other co-curriculars, whether it's a job and sports teams or clubs. Just try to find a balance because the academics do pick up junior year. PSATs coming up in October here. The registrations are closed for that. We got it's an unbelievable amount of students taking the PSATs this year. I think it's over 500. We have some other from the counseling department there, Mrs. Clark. The career breakfast is in December. It's really 2 blocks, or some of these juniors really get to sit down and talk. 1 block with somebody they're interested in their profession. We have a junior night. Mrs. Clark runs that, really talks about the college process and all those things. That's upcoming in February. The college search process they're going to receive more and more information from the counseling department as far as, the college search process, if you haven't been through it before. And then, the college planning, college meetings, with students and parents will start to pick up after February vacation, and they're really there to assist you in the college planning. Some fun things, the cotillions coming up in May. That is, a really great event for the junior class. We really hope to have it in as normal of manner as possible. And also the last thing, the junior job shadow day, where students hopefully will get out and still be able to shadow people doing different careers in May. That date is not nailed down yet, but that'll be in May. Just to heads up on the junior operators, we had a lot of, some students when they're driving out of here, whether they're a junior after school, a sporting event, clubs and activities, there are police constantly monitoring for speeding. And, I know it's, if they get pulled over and they're junior operator, they could lose their license. So, just a reminder on that for all my new drivers that are juniors and the Mass General Law on junior operators. Parking, there is no parking for juniors at Westford Academy. Okay, if your student says that they have a junior privilege because they have a DLT, they do not. Okay, juniors are not allowed to come and go. Seniors do, if they have a DLT, they are allowed to, come in late if they have a DLT, or leave early if they have a DLT, or if they need to leave during the day, they can do that during that DLT. So there is a senior privilege, but there is no junior privilege. Okay. And it's been good so far. We're starting to catch some kids that are trying to sneak onto campus and drive, but there's no parking for juniors. This is still here, the vaping and the dab pens and all that kind of stuff. It's still happening. It had seemed to slow down during the COVID era and, the half-day schedule we were running, but this is still here. The guys' bathroom still smells like that strawberry flavor. So just, keep your eye out for these things. We do have a vaping course that, if a student is caught here, we make them go through as an educational course. It's being revamped again this year in a different format. So more information to come on that, but really just, these are some of the more common ones. And the bottom right there, that's actually a THC dab pen. So just, sharing some information for parents. Chromebooks the Chromebooks are still all up and running. So please, remind I think that by this point the juniors know, but charge every night. It does not really, we don't have a lot of printing options here at school. Some teachers are still looking for some things to be, printed and brought in, and, because there are a lot of, paper and pencil activities that still take place. When the amount of screen time that everybody's on these days, it's so when a teacher says, print something at home or bring it in, there's a reason to it. And obviously taking care of it in the phones. the teachers, students own personal iPhones and phones like that. The expectation is those are all away during the school day. You have your Chromebook, you don't need your phone. Of course, during the in-between classes, the students pull them out as soon as they can. But the phones are really away in the classroom, and we're using Chromebooks and paper and pencils and things like that. Co-curricular is still opportunities to do that. It's a $100 fee. You can pay on My School Bucks on the WA website. It's a $100 fee to do as many activities as you want. And there's still plenty of opportunities to do there, whether it's water or different clubs, things like that. There is a user fee, obviously, if you're doing athletics, but this fee is just the clubs. We are still running the late buses here. They are back. If you have a bus pass, the students leave out of the back lobby. It's been popular again with students, so they can do their clubs and activities Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then they get to on the bus out back at 3:00, and the buses really roll at 3:10. But we're still running those. Attendance, please, please, please. We need help with your attendance. All attendance issues. So if your student is late more than just a few minutes, please call into the attendance line, say, yep, they were late, hard time getting up this morning, whatever it might be. Any absences, they all need to be reported to Mrs. Brown. For the absence to be excused, you need to have a doctor's note or a copy of a college visit or things like that. There's only really it's doctor's notes excuse the absences. Okay, students that have 6 or more unexcused absences in a class could lose credit for that class in that quarter. So please make sure you're calling them in, make sure that we know where they are. And then the second piece is to have the absences excused. Please email, bring a piece of paper in, your son or your student, your son or daughter, your student, bring them in and hand them off to Mrs. Brown, our attendance secretary. Okay. And again, a student who's absent from school, just a reminder, if a student is absent from school, and even if they come in after second block, they're not technically allowed to participate without an approval or a doctor's note or an excused absence. So all your students that are doing co-curriculars, if they're not in school that day, they cannot participate. If they're not in school on Fridays, they need approval to participate on the weekend. So it is important, that the kids are here at school on those days of those clubs, activities, etc. Again, tardy to school is after 7:35. We take attendance for the day, that first block. Tardy to school, these have already started to go out. You're going to be notified if your student has 3. And then if you get to 6 tardies in a quarter, we start offering office detention to help try to rectify the situation if students get to school on time. Okay. Academic integrity. This is certainly a battle after last year. With the endless amounts of students doing a lot of independent learning and the never-ending options to easily figure out a fast and easy way to look up an answer or to cut some corners. So this is just a very general outline of our cheating and plagiarism, our handbook rules. Really the first offense is a grade penalty by the teacher. It could be a 0. They could make them redo it. It all depends on the situation. If it's a test or quiz, an assessment, something they've been working on a long time, or a pop quiz, or whatever it might be. And the second offense is it does escalate after that. In communication, certainly, it's we always encourage our students. I ask students all the time if they come in here have an issue, have you talked with the teacher yet? That's my first thing always. I always try to point them back to the teacher. Same thing would go for any of the parents here. Just if your son or daughter or student has said that they've already spoke with the teacher, it's not going anywhere, then please reach out to that teacher first. Try to work with it one-on-one, and then as you can see, the subsequent steps in the process here of communication. Just try to keep the issue as close to what the issue is with as least amount of people as possible. With the most knowledge, and then if it needs to, be escalated, we certainly do that to try to solve these problems. Just a reminder, we do have the memorandum of understanding with the Westford Police Department. There's we communicate all the time about student, issues that happen outside of school. And sometimes those things that happen outside of school could lead to, additional disciplinary things inside of school. So there is a communication, whether it's, hosting house parties, things like that, um, in the town of Westford. And if they do show up in a police report, then we are notified. So, and then we have to kind of figure out what to do from there. But that still exists. Just some really some quick things from the guidance, or I'm sorry, from the counseling department here. A resource guide from Mrs. Clark. This is on the Westford Academy counseling department page. Just some good tips here. Obviously, students can meet with their counselor anytime. There's a ton of presentations on the website. They have an Instagram. They have the newsletters that are going out. One's already gone out this year. Make sure you sign up for Mr. Antonelli's email on the website. He sends out a weekly Friday email with a ton of information, and also, the SCORE emails there. So, there's a lot here, but just some good tips for you from the counseling department. Yeah, I think you've all seen this. The schedule for tonight. All those Google links. That way you get yourself organized, get to those classes on time. Teachers will provide as much information as they can in those 15-minute windows, and make sure you check out Mr. Antonelli's welcome and opening as well. It was really nice being with you this evening. Thank you for coming. And certainly anytime, any issues with your student, you can reach out to me, and I'll try to help you solve those, or at least point you in the right direction. Okay. Thank you, and have a great evening.